listeners, Advocacy Coordinator Tatum here to say thank you for starting your day with our peerless, trusted Progress Texas podcasts. This critical midterm year, you can invest in the largest digital network for Texas progressives by becoming a monthly member for our summer drive. If you haven't joined or increased your gift yet, you can join today at the link in the show notes, and we'll thank you with union-made merch to match your values, plus a shout out on the Daily Dispatch. Thanks in advance for funding the progressive Texas you want to live in today.
When an election is decided before a single ballot is cast, no matter which party you belong to, we all lose. We are no longer America. But a rigged map still has to make its way to the governor's desk. The governor of Texas can veto it. That makes this office the last line standing between one party and permanent control of Congress, and it makes this race the most important in America. Texas needs a governor who will veto rigged maps, whether they are rigged for Republicans or rigged for Democrats, and I will be that governor.
It's Monday, August 10th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We can't do what we do without your support. Huge thanks to Bonnie Walton, Edith Frost, and Eric Hart for their ongoing sustaining partnership. I'm back from a quick trip to New York City, which is awesome as always, but sorry to report is not always a reliable escape from the Texas heat. There is a fair amount of sweat hitting Broadway lately. Back here in the real Texas heat, we find that another new poll has hit the political street here in Texas as of Friday, full of encouraging signs for Democrats, though I'm a broken record here in saying that polls are polls. Polls are a snapshot in time, and a lot can happen over the next 85 days. But here is the latest. Aaron Barker at Fox 7 TV in Austin says recent results from ReconMR and Texas A&M's Bush School indicate an unmistakable shift towards Democrats across multiple Texas races ahead of November. In the U.S. Senate contest, Democrat James Talarico now holds a 4.47 to 43% lead over Republican Ken Paxton. Talarico commands big majorities in both the Austin area and the DFW Metroplex, supported by strong voter trust in Talarico on core issues, including addressing the affordability crisis, managing water resources, maintaining public safety, and handling the conflict in Iran. Tanya Babar at the Houston Chronicle notes that there's promising news for Democratic down-ballot candidates, too, in the gubernatorial race. Austin State Rep. Gina Hinojosa, who we heard at the top back there, has trimmed incumbent Governor Greg Abbott's lead to a single point, 46 to 45%. Gina has erased a 6-point lead for the governor just since June. In the race for lieutenant governor, Team Vikki's got to be pumped as Democrat Vikki Goodwin leads incumbent Dan Patrick 48 to 46%. Goodwin has doubled her lead among independent voters from 9 to 18 percentage points. Megan Reyna at KHOU-TV in Houston says the entire Democratic ticket also stands to benefit from James Talarico's staggering $72 million to $16.8 million fundraising advantage over Ken Paxton. Let me say that one more time. Talarico, $72 million. Paxton, just under $17 million. Staggering is actually putting it pretty mildly there. Broken record time again. This is not the time for Democratic candidates or activists or voters to relax. It's time to run up the score. And as was emphasized in a new talk with state reps John Bryant and Vince Perez that will hit this feed later today, you big city Democrats in safe blue areas are not exempt from the urgency here. It's full court press time for everybody. The hubris and detachment of the Republican elite may be closing on a reckoning, especially here in Texas. Interesting thoughts from Douglas McKinnon, the very picture of an old-school establishment Republican who worked for Ronald Reagan and Bush 41 and Bob Dole. McKinnon writes in The Hill that Republican arrogance from Trump on down the roster has opened a massive opportunity for Democrats across the country. And that's no more true anywhere than Texas. The Trump cult wants to talk about stock market gains and 401k growth, while everyday families are getting crushed at the grocery store and every time they open a utility bill. No surprise then that Republicans like McKinnon and John Cornyn's primary voters are jumping ship. That new polling we were talking about shows a full quarter of non-MAGA Texas Republicans now backing James Talarico. That's a defection unheard of in the Trump era. Saddled with deeply flawed candidates and hindered by the usual historical midterm tailwinds that naturally favor the opposition party, the Trump GOP's refusal to acknowledge working-class pain sets the stage for historic political change this fall, and also out of desperation, historic malfeasance, as Republicans, not known in the Trump era for their ethical standards, bend the rules as far as possible to stay in power. We took a deep dive on those possibilities on our most recent In Progress show this last Thursday. That's a few clicks back on this feed. In Texas, Latino voters are very much the key to all of this. We tend to think immediately of the Rio Grande Valley and the Republican interference with South Texas congressional district lines that's already happened, but new reporting from the Latin Times reminds us that no county in Texas is home to more Latino residents than Harris County. An estimated 2.2 million Hispanic Texans live in the Houston area, making up close to half of the population of our most populous urban area. But historically, voters with Spanish surnames have accounted for only about 1/5 of the votes cast in Harris County. A heightened activation of this key voting bloc presents a major opportunity for Democrats this fall. Discussions at the recent Unidos U.S. conference in Austin, which we were proudly invited to cover, revealed that 62% of Texas Latinos put the cost of living at the top of their list of paramount concerns, and roughly 1 in 5 Hispanic Trump voters in Texas say they will not support him again, driven by both disappointment in Trump's handling of the economy and his ultra-aggressive interior immigration enforcement tactics. 3 consecutive independent surveys are showing this same trend, with Hispanic voters serving as the cornerstone of Talarico's advantage. They back him over Paxton by margins ranging from 51 to 24% to a massive 66 to 20%, with Democratic gubernatorial nominee Gina Hinojosa noting that capturing 64% of the statewide Latino vote provides a clear path to victory. Harris County's 2.2 million Latino residents represent a decisive high-stakes turnout battleground. H-Town is on notice to get the vote out like they never have before. And finally, y'all, it's back to school time in Texas. April Towery at the Houston Press says parents of progressive proclivities across the state are understandably worried about the Christianized environment they're required by law to send their kids into, and some are fighting back. A group of Houston moms have launched a novel legal challenge to fight state-mandated religious displays in classrooms, in direct confrontation to the new state requirement to post the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms. While previous federal challenges to Senate Bill 10 have failed at the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, this new lawsuit bypasses federal courts entirely and instead relies on the 1999 Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act, plus the newly passed Texas Parental Rights Amendment, to argue that state-enforced religious displays violate parents' rights to direct their children's upbringing. These mandates, including the widespread state adoption of Bible-infused curricula like Bluebonnet Learning, concocted by Christian nationalist Republican lawmakers, alienate non-Christian, secular, and minority students while also eroding the inclusivity of our public schools. Though a state judge recently declined to issue an immediate temporary restraining order before the start of the school year, this Houston lawsuit represents a critical state-level stand against state-sponsored religious intrusion into Texas public education. Nice work, as always, from April Towery at the Houston Press. She's included the full text of the lawsuit in her article. See the link in the show notes, and we'll be watching that as it develops. This election year, you can support the real free press by investing in pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive storytelling delivered by Texans for Texans. Join Progress Texas this summer ahead of the midterms and become a monthly donor today, or increase your giving during our summer sustaining donor drive. With your partnership, we can reach more independents, progressives, and young voters who must be mobilized to win elections this fall. And we'll thank you with Perks for Progress, your choice from our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a sweet Progress Texas summer koozie, and a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out here on the Daily Dispatch. Hit the show notes or progresstexas.org to join the family during our summer sustaining donor drive. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Monday, August 10th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and a great week. We'll see you again here tomorrow morning.